Hi, I'm Cram, and today we take a look at EA's latest sports game and the first UFC endorsed fighting game on PS4 and Xbox One in EA Sports UFC, which provides the full UFC experience without having to break a sweat. From the offset, players are introduced to the core fighting moves by way of a tutorial, which then sets the stage for the rest of the game. It's here where players can jump into tutorial, challenges or quick matches and choose from a wide selection of weight divisions and their corresponding fighters. Without naming names and any omissions, there's enough on the selection wheel that should keep most players happy. For the first time, female combatants are also featured in the bantamweight class, and whilst a selection of 7 fighters compared to the more full choice of over 80 men is lacking, the inclusion is worth noting for those wanting the full experience. From the well-presented interface, players can jump into the single-player career mode, which has you create an avatar from a range of suitable-looking male characters, then tweak the basics such as hair, skin colour, physique and so on. It's not the most in-depth creation tools in a sports game, but does provide enough contrast to add individual style to the fighters, such as bright orange hair and raging tattoos from head to toe. Once a fighter has been crafted, there are all manner of attribute points to distribute, which boost the abilities as you play and train. The career mode follows a distinct pattern as players work their way from the lowly beginnings to the full-on headline act in a UFC main event. The road is quite laborious as between bouts players are encouraged to engage in training, which simply goes over the same tutorial moves again and again, with points being made available for boosting attributes. The distinctive pattern sees no end, but in some ways is a great way to teach newcomers all of the required moves so that they are really mastered and players get better. Onto the fighting itself, and the game offers a well-paced rendition of the combat, where players can easily block and parry strikes, dish out killer kicks or raging punches, and get into the less technical aspects of stand-up fighting. Taking things to another level is going into clinch scenarios and floor-pounding takedowns, which result in groundwork being needed. There's really 3 main elements to master, despite being able to pick a style which might not relate to rolling about on the floor. Once players have a basic grasp of the stand-up game, clinches and takedowns, then battering the opposition shouldn't be a problem. As mentioned, players can spend points on boosting specific attributes which suit their playing style, and makes a long slog training every 5 minutes all the worthwhile. The only real negative, aside from the repetitive nature of this mode, is the fact that on occasion it feels more time is spent doing training and viewing menus than actually fighting, especially if rounds are being won in under a few minutes. In terms of looks, the game offers a frightfully realistic set of character models and an accurate portrayal of fighting moves. Whilst impacts look and feel right when they connect, the only gripe is with the final blow often transforming the receiver into a lifeless static dummy, which doesn't look right amongst all the other realistic movements. This is made more apparent during the slow motion replays. A little more attention to the winning blow animations would have been the icing on the cake, as the rest of the movements are astonishingly lifelike. EA Sports UFC manages to capture the look and feel of fight events with its customizable soundtrack, raucous crowds, on-the-ball commentators, flashing lights and grand entrance themes. The interface is slick and well manageable, although in some ways there's little to clutter things up with so many modes on offer. From start to finish, everything has been granted the UFC seal of approval, with an abundance of footage used as players progress through the career, and even special video messages from various fighters and Dana White, who offer encouragement throughout the journey. It's all very slick and well presented, as expected from EA, who have been perfecting user interfaces for quite some time now. For long-term play, the game does present a bit of a challenge in that there are a few modes to mess around with outside of the career. Players can set up local or online fights, but the core game experience seems to revolve around the serious tinkering with different character classes and getting the most out of the diversity here rather than lots of different fantasy modes. As a first UFC game for EA, it gets the core experience just right and seems to offer an expected game for fans. For gamers who enjoy fighting games, there's a fast-paced, easily accessible UFC sim on offer that requires a bit of mastery of the 3 main fighting elements to get the most out of it. With its healthy roster of fighters to choose from and an engaging yet drawn-out career mode, EA Sports UFC is a decent first attempt from EA that's very much worth a look. A lack of modes might be upsetting for some gamers expecting more from EA, but the core experience is well represented and adds up to a neat sports game to sink some hours into. EA Sports UFC scores 8 out of 10. I'm Rob Cram, thanks for watching.
Misha Tate earns the TKO victory.
It was a huge punch to the head that led to the knockdown and the TKO victory.
As always, we check out our fight replay.
Let's take one more look at the end of the fight here. This is a vicious series of strikes, ground and pound, that lead up to the TKO. We can see it here from another look. These are clean shots that are getting in over and over again. Ground